Boker Talks, we began discussing yesterday Siman Bet in HaEzer, talking about who is appropriate to marry. And one thing I forgot to say yesterday is that a major aspect of this chapter will be, how do you know if someone is Jewish? Of course, there are major things like mamzer, halal, and all these kinds of things. But primarily, the first thing is, if someone comes and says they are Jewish, can you accept that? And all of that. That's a major topic which we're going to go into a lot of detail. But the Gemara and the Rambam and the Shulchan Aruch codify this, give us some general advice in terms of marriage. Yesterday we talked about financial gain, but leaving that aside, a person's not marrying for financial reasons. What's the best kind of person to marry? So of course, a good person with a good midot, good character is the most important. But after that, the Gemara tells us that marrying the daughter of a Talmid Chacham is a beautiful thing. There's a hierarchy, really. A man, who can he marry? The best is a girl who not only has good midot, but is also the daughter of a Talmid Chacham. Next after that is the daughter of a righteous people. It's called in the Gemara Gedolei Hador. In the context, it means people who are tzaddikim, who are righteous and kind. Next after that is the presidents of synagogues, the leaders of communities. If they're not Talmid Chacham, and not necessarily tzaddikim, but they are leaders of communities, that's the next best. Following that is Gabba'ei Tzedakah, those who look after the welfare of the community, those who collect money for the poor and distribute the money, the wardens of charitable affairs in the community. And then the next is teachers, the daughters of teachers. And that's the 5 things the Gemara tells us, to really a kind of hierarchy. First is daughter of a Talmid Chacham, then the daughter of righteous people, then the daughter of presidents and leaders of communities, then the daughters of people who lead the welfare of the community, and then finally the daughters of teachers. Most important, the Gemara says, is you don't marry an Am Haaretz, the daughter of an Am Haaretz. And Am Haaretz in this context, the Am Haaretz has different connotations in different places in Shas. In this context, an Am Haaretz in Halakha here means someone who eno medagdek b'mitzvot, who doesn't care about the mitzvot, who doesn't pay attention to the mitzvot, who essentially views the mitzvot as something which is not important and something to override. That's the most important, and to stay away from that. But that's general advice in terms of a marriage. What the Gemara says is the most beautiful thing is when a Talmid Chacham marries the daughter of a Kohen, what we call a Kohenet. The Gemara says this is Torah ukuna b'makom echad, coming together both the lineage of the Kohen, of the priesthood, and also Torah. Because remember, in the olden days, the Kohen was essentially, was the Rav. The Kohen was the teacher. The Torah tells us very clearly the purpose of the Kohen was to instruct and to educate. And so when you have a Talmid Chacham marrying daughter of a Kohen, that's a beautiful thing. That's a wonderful union. What certainly one should avoid, the Gemara tells us, is an Am Haaretz marrying the daughter of a Kohen. Am Haaretz, that means someone who is not observant, and not just not observant, but uninterested, and sees the mitzvot as something which are negotiable, something which are not important. It's one thing a person is on a journey and learning, etc. But another thing is a person who just doesn't care. That's very bad, the Gemara says, if they marry the daughter of a Kohen, because that's not what the family of Kehuna is about. Marrying the daughter of a Kohen comes with certain responsibilities. Next time we'll talk about families, not just specific, but families in terms of families, what qualities to find in families, what Hachamim tell us, and then we'll begin to talk about the discussion of who's a Jew nowadays. How do we know someone's Jewish?